Hi guys, welcome to Miss McCabe's YouTube channel. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a couple weeks. It's just been really busy around here. So this is for my physics students. The rest of you can gladly watch this TV series, but this pertains to physics students' worksheets. So we are going over vectors and vector components today. The big thing to remember here is SOHCAHTOA. So if it is opposite over hypotenuse, you use sine. If it's adjacent over hypotenuse, you use the cosine. And if it is opposite over adjacent, then you use the tangent function. Okay, so the first example I'm going over says find the xy component of 35 meters per second at 57 degrees from the x-axis. So at this point, the first thing you need to do is draw a diagram, some sort of diagram. If I know I'm 57 degrees from the x-axis, I can draw a little graph here, and 57 degrees, I'll say roughly 57 degrees, and I know I'm going 35 meters per second. So I'm actually trying to find this point up here. Okay. So in this case, when I'm trying to find the x-axis, I notice I'm trying to find this. Okay, so I use the adjacent over the hypotenuse, right? And so I've got 35 cosine 57 degrees. If you plug that into your calculator, you'll end up with a number. Okay, at this point, the number should be roughly around 19.1. Okay, meters. And on your y-axis, it should be 35. You're using your sine function. So you've got 35 sine 57 degrees. Okay, if you plug that into your calculator, you get roughly 29.4. So then you can say, okay, my XY coordinate right there is 19.1 for your X point and 29.4 for your Y coordinate. Okay, so that's your answer for the first example. Okay, so with this one, I want you to remember that it depends on which coordinate system you're in. If you're in the first coordinate system, your degrees are just fine. You can leave them as is. If you're in the second quadrant with your numbers, say you have like a negative x with a positive y, then you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm in the second quadrant, and then I have to add that at that point, okay? Add that to 180. Then if you're in the third quadrant, you're going to minus that, okay? And then if you're in the fourth quadrant, you're going to minus that as well from that 360. So keep that in mind if you're in what quadrant you're in when you're working out these problems. Then the second one, my second example says find the resultant vector, the magnitude and direction of these points. So I gave you the x and I gave you the y, which was 5.7 and 3.4. So what you want to do now is you're going to look at the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so say I have an r squared. You can use c. I don't care what you want to use, c or r. I just use r because I'm finding the resultant vector. That's the only reason I use r. Okay, so I have r equals the square root of 5.7 squared plus 3.4 squared. Okay, so r gives me a number. And this point, it gives me 6.6, which is my magnitude. So I know my magnitude of my vector is 6.6. Okay, then next thing I do, I need to find that angle, some angle for this vector. Okay, and so I know my magnitude is 6.6, but to find the direction, you have AY divided by AX. Okay, so Y divided by X, right? So it's, in this case, going to be 3.4 divided by 5.7. And that'll give you some sort of angle, which, in physics we call it theta. And theta is your angle or direction. In this case, in this situation, I got 0.59. So we use the inverse tangent of 0.59. If you plug that into your calculator, you end up with a degree of 30.8. Okay, so you're using the inverse tangent here. So the first thing you do is you plug in your numbers, AX, into the Pythagorean theorem. You get your magnitude. After you've gotten your magnitude, you use y divided by x. Okay, you get a number, which in this case is 0.59. You take the inverse tangent of it. Okay, and then you get your angle. Now, at this point, if this were in the third quadrant, we'd take 360 minus 30.8. Since this is in the first quadrant, we just leave it. Okay, leave it as is. And that is your answer right here. You've got 6.6 for the magnitude and 30.8 degrees for your angle. If you have any questions about that, please email me. Come see me in the morning or after school. Please like this video if you really do like it, and share it with your friends. Thank you for visiting.